Welcome back, boys. Today we have one from Kait Ann-Michelle. What's really behind the lack of good men? Let's check this one out.
Where are we meeting the men that don't suck? Where are we finding them?
Where are all the good men?
Where are all the good men at?
Where have all the good men gone?
Where are all the good men?
Where do I find the nice guy that wants a simple, healthy relationship?
Where are the good men at? Where they at? How do I meet them? Where do I go?
Girls, where the fuck are you finding good men?
You say you want a good man, but ask yourself this. Would the man that you want the woman that you've become? 63% of men under the age of 30 are single. But that's not the whole story. In fact, 61% of men ages 18 to 29 say they want to be in a committed relationship, compared to only 50% of women. Yet everywhere we turn, there's a woman who's asking, why does it feel like there are no good men left? Maybe it's not that they're gone. Maybe they're just done with the rules of a rigged game. This video is for the women who want a good man, who may not even be aware of the pitfalls of their own perceptions, beliefs, and behaviors that push good men away instead of pulling them in. And this video is for the men who are overburdened with the dialogue that their masculinity is somehow toxic, that we don't need them, when in fact, we do. This is for those of you who believe in commitment, love, and the depth of what is real over what just feels good right now. And to be transparent, this won't be an easy video, and I will be the first to admit that I don't have this all figured out. However, I do believe that there are fundamental flaws that have eroded the very fabric of relationships. And by the time you watch this video all the way to the end, you'll understand exactly how we got here, and how the things that you believe are in your best interest may in fact be harming you. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. It started as a fight for rights, and it morphed into a war on roles. And now, it's a religion without redemption. This book is one that I recommend everybody reads. It reveals the esoteric and spiritual roots of feminism as rebellion. And not just against men, but against nature and order itself. In the effort to see this from an alternative perspective to the narrative that you have probably been fed about feminism, I ask you to keep an open mind to what I'm about to share with you. I'm going to dive into each wave and show you how this movement has shifted drastically, potentially radically, over time. There are many narratives and beliefs held that feminism is either the best thing that has ever happened or the absolute worst. But unlike other waves that came, the first wave of feminism was focused on maintaining the order and nurture between men and women. The pioneers in this first wave, like Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Stanton, and Sojourner Truth, framed their arguments not in terms of overthrowing the patriarchy or embracing this spiritual rebellion, but in terms of moral responsibility, justice, and civic duty. Many were abolitionists and temperance advocates, campaigning against things like slavery, domestic abuse, and alcohol abuse, which were destroying families. And I personally
When did the CIA get involved, though?
see this as an era where women were fighting for family, for order, not against it. First wave feminists sought basic legal protection and recognition, the right to vote, property rights for married women, access to education, and legal recourse in abusive marriages. These demands were not about erasing sex-based differences, but about correcting clear injustices, ones that left women legally voiceless and financially trapped. These reforms aligned with natural law and biblical principles of justice, not oriented towards social upheaval. Now, I want to be clear that my positions are not to shove religion down your throat, nor are they to put me on some moral high ground. But it's also important to at least acknowledge that when we removed religion, we had to replace it with something. The erosion of Christianity didn't just impact.
Yeah, with something. And you know what came in was, a goddamn abomination with science, scientism. We watched a video on it.
Our churches. It impacted cultural values.
Like they destroyed everything. The world became secular, right? God is seen as a joke. Morals, standards, in general, people are such autistic. Like they're very autistic now, and the thing is, science is it's a very good tool, but you shouldn't use it for everything. The thing is, science can explain things in one way, but it doesn't give reasons. Like it can answer the hows, like how does this work, or how does this operate, or whatever, but it doesn't give the why. Why does it work like this? Why is it like this? It doesn't answer those questions, and religion for many people did. But now that it's gone, I mean, look at what is happening. Like, people have no fucking idea what the fuck is going on. Yeah.
That held our society together, and furthermore, opened the door in which this revolution could just walk right through. First wave feminists, for the most part, did not seek to erase the differences between men and women. They weren't trying to become men or mock men. Instead, they emphasized complementary roles, that women had a moral and nurturing influence that was necessary to shape society.
People have, you know, I want to add something to this. People have like this weird idea that, oh yeah, the 1950s and 60s, we should go back to that. That, oh, we should just have women in the kitchen and like do fuck all, do the things they have like this fantasy about. But the fact that women in such a large amount so quickly changed when it was opened up, right? That so many women went into work, went into this, went into that, into education, into everything. That kind of proves that the system that was not working. It did not work. Women were unsatisfied by that. And, you know, it doesn't help that the fucking CIA and all this feminist, the newer age, not this first, I don't, yeah, that kind of like newer age feminists, they trick women. It's like, oh yeah, go and get a career, go work for a man and listen to everything he says, which is your boss, instead of, you know, getting a husband and take care of the fucking children, which you can't. I mean, you have a job to afford kids. Like, how does this work? You have a job to afford kids, but then you send your kids to kindergarten. You know, you could have just taken care of your kids, which takes care, like, it gives a lot of purpose and meaning for a woman's life. It does. And instead of, you know, working a fucking job and having to put someone else in charge of, you know, taking care of your kids, like, you should, like, it's best to let the fucking family be together. Let the child be taken care of his mother. Because, you know, that helps with development as well. Instead of having fucking strangers take care of your kids, I think your kid grows up a lot healthier if the woman is as much around as possible during like the early development of a child. Now, of course, I don't have children, but, you know, I don't know. It just sounds better instead of having strangers take care of your kids.
Educate children, and contribute to public life. They believed in the distinct power of womanhood, not in its denial or androgynous illusion. This wave of feminism still upheld marriage, motherhood, and virtue as good and central to a woman's role.
Now, being a mother is seen as a joke. You're clowned on. And being like a nurturing, loving woman, feminine woman, it is seen as a weakness. The thing is, women are becoming so like, how do you say it, like masculine, I would say. Like, they think in such a masculine way that they think that being a woman, a proper feminine woman who wants to have kids and a family and take care of the home and, you know, do all that shit, it is seen as a weakness by these
At this
feminists.
time, there was no cult of the self. Unlike modern feminism that says, you do you, early feminists operated under a framework of duty, sacrifice, and service, especially in how women should use their influence. They weren't trying to free women from the family or smash the patriarchy. Their goal was often to improve society by improving the conditions of women within their God-given roles. There was no obsession with liberation from responsibility, but a very deep sense of moral obligation. But then it was hijacked. But again, it wasn't born corrupt. As I'm sure you've heard before, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. There came a point where the first wave of feminism was co-opted by occult forces, and this occurred in the early 20th century. Theosophy, goddess worship, and spiritual rebellion started to creep in. Names like Helena Blavatsky and Alice Bailey replaced the moral language of justice with esoteric visions of power. Margaret Sanger, who championed birth control, was very much influenced by these occult ideas. What began as a call for fairness became a seedbed for revolt. And this brings us to the second wave, otherwise known as the Great Inversion. If the first wave sought integration, the second wave demanded demolition. It no longer wanted to refine society. It wanted to reimagine it. The family, gender roles, Christianity, and the very essence of womanhood. You were told that you were more than just a mother. You were told you needed to be free, that love was a trap, that your womb was a burden, that the home was a cage, and the man beside you was your oppressor. But what if I told you these ideas didn't come from nowhere? That they were planted, seeded, and sold, spun by women who themselves were serving a much bigger agenda. Let's take a look at 3 women whose ideas specifically shaped the modern version of womanhood, and ask the question that no one seems to ever ask: what did their version of freedom actually cost us? Betty Friedan lit the match. In her best-selling book, The Feminine Mystique, she calls the suburban housewife's role a comfortable concentration camp. She said that domestic life was a very slow death, that motherhood was an intellectual prison, and that women didn't even realize how miserable they were. So women left the home, not always because they wanted to, but because they were told that they're wasting their potential. Friedan redefined value as visibility. Fulfillment became synonymous with professional status. Homemaking, once revered, was now reframed as shameful. So she offered a new purpose: careerism. She told women to leave the kitchen and enter the boardroom. And again, not because they all wanted to, but because supposedly by staying at home, they were just wasting away. And many women who followed this pathway are now stuck asking themselves, why do I have a resume full of achievements, but feel like something more sacred is missing? Or they resent the men in their lives for the fact that they feel the burden of trying to be everything, yet feeling almost nothing. But Gloria Steinem took it even further. She told women that true power came from detachment: emotional, sexual, and spiritual. Marriage, optional. Children, inconvenient. Abortion, empowerment. And men, oppressors. She famously said that a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. And what's never discussed is her work in the CIA, or with the CIA, spending her time shaping youth movements and influencing the overall culture. And this is not a conspiracy. Okay, she admitted this.
Gloria, at the festival, you worked for the Independent Research Service.
That's right.
Well, exactly when did your own association with the CIA start, and in what fashion? Did they come to you, or did you go to them?
In 1958, when I came home from India, I discussed with student leaders, past and present, many of them active with the National Student Association.
She didn't liberate women, she redirected them out of the home and into the system.
Yeah, into the system so they can become fucking tax slaves. Like, how like this is like how does the government make more money? It's like, oh yeah, like double the fucking workers, right? More taxes, more money. And how does the system gain more power? It's, you know, every year, every time, you know, time passes by and your rights get eroded. You get less rights, and government and bureaucracy infiltrates more and more into your fucking life and starts to dictate what you can say and do and blah blah blah. Now, how do you make sure that progress that they want of taking your fucking rights away and getting, you know, more money, more profits? It is, you know, division. You know, a person with a family and a stake into the future, i.e. through money, like owning a home, a house, or having children, a family, these people are going to be more opposed to the government because they want to create a better future for them and their children. But now, with so many people who have fuck all, they have nothing. A lot of women, a lot of men have fuck all. They have nothing at all. No property, no children, they don't have a stake into their future. So of course these people are going to be less like, yeah, they're going to have more of a mentality of like, yeah, fuck it. Like, let daddy government, just do your thing. Take all the rights away. Fuck it. I have nothing to lose. And this just keeps getting fucking worse. You know, the birth rate the kind of fertility crisis we have now, it's getting worse and worse and worse, and it doesn't seem to get any better, man.
And not towards joy, but towards isolation disguised as independence. And then came Firestone, who indeed took an aim at biology itself. In the dialectic of sex, she declared that pregnancy, barbaric, and the family unit, a form of tyranny. Her vision, ultimately, was quite chilling. Reproduction without women, families without fathers, and bodies without boundaries. Firestone had no goals of equality. She wanted to erase womanhood entirely, to remove pregnancy from the body, to completely abolish the nuclear family, to replace biology with technology. She believed that the only way to be free was to completely escape the female form in itself. And unfortunately, it worked. These ideas fractured women from their own biology. Motherhood was no longer sacred, sexual restraint or boundaries was seen as a weakness, virtue became oppression, and the feminine became a costume. If you were told that pain meant oppression, that childbirth was chains, that nurturing or being nurturing is so outdated, you were absorbing Firestone's gospel. I hope by now you can start to see how second wave feminism fused cultural Marxism with spiritual rebellion. It glamorized the self and diminished responsibility. Feminist text praised witchcraft, sexual liberation as empowerment, abortion as a right instead of a moral tragedy, pornography, hookup culture, and promiscuity as markers of freedom, not even disclosing that the things that women did not want to be valued for or degraded down into was indeed the value that now women had to lead with. Steinem herself endorsed feminist occultism. What began as a movement for equality had become a full-blown ideological inversion. This was and is a deliberate psychological operation to destroy modesty, shame, and sexual restraint, especially in young women. By encouraging women to divorce, work, and raise children independently, second-wave feminism replaced the husband with the state. Government welfare programs, state-run schools, legal and financial systems that incentivized single motherhood and positioned interdependence on the covenant of marriage as a mistake. And what so many women do not see is that this aligns with globalist interests, not individual fulfillment. Break the family, increase state dependency. And this brings us to part 3, the third wave of feminism. And this is where womanhood started to completely disappear. When truth becomes relative, womanhood becomes undefinable. Rachel Wilson. Third wave feminism didn't just distort womanhood, it dismantled it. No longer is it united around the female experience. It divided itself.
This is where, like, just saying the truth, and this is where, like, kind of the truth became illegal. Like, this is like, oh yeah, like, it's the same argument as they use in art. It's like, oh, art is in the eye of the beholder. Like, this absolute disgusting monstrosity of a statue I built, which is made of garbage, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's not just fucking garbage I threw together. It is beautiful. And this is what they try to tell you, man. They say, oh, man, they say it with such confidence too. They're like, ah, look at this shit. You enjoy this shit. You have to enjoy this shit. I'm like, fuck you. What is happening to beauty? What is happening to people? People are served garbage and shit, and they like are expected to just smile and nod and be happy that you own fucking nothing, that everything is on a subscription now.
Into identities, grievances, and contradictions. Intersectionality began as a valid critique, but it evolved into this hierarchy of oppression, where being a woman was no longer.
Yeah, it's the fucking victim points. It's like, oh, I am the most oppressed. Like, oh, I'm going through, I have the biggest depression and anxiety. Like, I win the social garbage. Like, this is what they fight over. Oh, I am the most broken. I am the most of a victim. It's insane.
Enough. Instead of seeking unity amongst women, feminism began fracturing into subcategories. You needed to be queer, a person of color, disabled, or non-binary in order to claim moral authority. And
this is where they eat themselves. This is where they start to eat themselves. This is where everything splinters. Because now it's like, oh, like everything is fucking insane now at this point.
biology was soon set out to be erased due to
Like there's too much garbage. I have no idea on half of it existing. They make up new terms and new words to be an even bigger victim and loser.
Butler's queer theory said that gender is performative, not reality. Soon being a woman.
You see this? And they reject reality because it hurts their feelings. This is what happens.
Women was a feeling, something that anybody could claim. Women's spaces, sports, and even safety were sacrificed at the altar of inclusion. So feminism became competitive and tribal, with victimhood becoming the new form of moral authority. The more oppressed categories a person could claim, the more power they held in the movement itself. And this newfound focal point within the movement moved feminism away from a universal definition of womanhood, and instead created a fractured identity matrix, where being a biological female was no longer the uniting thread. It also encouraged resentment, envy, and perpetual grievance, not cooperation, not uplifting. And as a consequence, feminism began to devour its own. If you did not affirm the ideology, you were labeled a TERF, a bigot, a relic. The category woman became so fluid that anyone could claim it, even biological men. This meant that women's rights, ironically, no longer had a subject. You could not advocate for female-specific issues without being accused of exclusion. And this was the final inversion. Third-wave feminism sided with a worldview that denied objective truth. And in doing so, it sacrificed the very people it claimed to protect, biological women, who are now being erased, displaced, and completely gaslit in the name of inclusion. But it goes even deeper than just that. At the same time, victimhood became virtue. The more identities one could claim, the more power that they held. Words were redefined as violence, no longer judged by intent or truth, but by the emotional response that they triggered. Safe spaces, which were once intended to protect healing, became these ideological bubbles, where dissent was dangerous and curiosity was condemned. Campuses that once encouraged.
Yeah, this is why I fucking hate academia. Oh, I have this degree. Oh, I'm this. It's like, shut the fuck up. Do you self-educate? Are you really about that game? This is what I don't like. I have never met them. I sure as fuck hope I don't. But if I ever meet one of these people that are like, oh yeah, I'm a philosopher, I shut your mouth. I'm the philosopher.
Encouraged inquiry now have trained their students to catastrophize discomfort, to view a new challenge or being called out on poor behavior as traumatic, and to believe that emotional safety should override open dialogue. And this created a generation that is allergic to confrontation, communication, or alternative perspectives, incapable of a healthy debate. And
yeah, they don't have self-awareness. That's what you could say. They don't see how ridiculously retarded the shit they're spouting is. And it's like such an obvious like Marxist bullshit they teach in school. And they don't see it. They just don't see it. I don't know how to tell you. Like, they are not the smart people, you could say. Because the smart people are doing the fucking construction. They're doing the labor jobs. They're making money instead of going into debt and getting a trash degree that doesn't fucking matter because your AI is gonna take your fucking job. People don't have vision anymore. Many people don't even they don't think. They just don't think. The average person. I mean, fuck, man. But the truth is, the average person is kind of low-key retarded when it comes to matters like these.
Completely conditioned to collapse under any form of responsibility or pressure. Instead of empowering women, third-wave feminism bred fragility. It exalted hypersensitivity, rewarded grievances, and
yeah, it made people into big babies. Ooh, the reality hurts. Oh, the truth. Oh, it hurts me. My feelings. Fuck. Take away the right to vote from the weak people. Make it so military service or some kind of high civil service gives you the right to vote. How about that? Destroy it all. You're weak? Nah, you don't get a say. You're a loser. You don't have a stake in the world? Nah, you don't get a say. You obviously have nothing to protect. More than likely you're a nihilist or a loser who was tricked by Marxists. Okay.
Breast resilience.
Boom.
Women were taught that discomfort was danger, that any disagreement, specifically from a man, was harm, and that silence was preferable to the risk of offense. And this carried on as cancel culture replaced growth. Forgiveness was no longer the goal. Shame became a form of currency, and redemption was no longer possible. Even feminists who started to raise questions about this were excommunicated from their own movement, and now feminism had become a religion without redemption. I want to re-emphasize that the intention behind these movements was not inherently harmful. Many were rooted in some form of genuine care. But when care becomes hypervigilance, and when disagreement becomes offense, we risk building a culture that is ill-equipped for the complexity, responsibility, and difficulty of life. They told you that motherhood would make you small, that your body was a burden, that your husband was your...
I have like an idea on this, but it's too early and I can't word it quite right. I have to think about it more, but I think women are too, their attention and like, how do you say, empathy, and you know, they're kind of like nurturing kind nature is being exploited by social media and all the shit going around. It's like, instead of caring about matters that will impact their lives and the people around them and their nation, they like would die for, you know, aid to some foreign war, or they care about things that are so detached from their lives more than their situation. Like, how do I say it? It's like, oh, like you can help out the community by doing this, but no, don't do that. It's a bad thing because children are starving here. And it's like, women are fucking exhausted. I do believe women are exhausted with their, they just don't, they have so much more, like, how do you say, ideas of bad. You know, oh, children dying here, bad, but women, but men getting fucked over by in my society, fuck them. They're losers. They're, you know, fuck them. They clown on the men that are their fucking neighbors, but they care more about some foreign stuff. They care about stuff that is so detached from them, and problems that are so abstractly retarded, like environment. Oh, the sun is too hot. Like, I don't fucking know what the fuck they're talking about. But the birth rate is collapsing. Society is getting, like, the unrest is coming. Like, things are gonna go bad. So, my biggest advice, gain strength, you know? Because everybody's weak. Gain strength and conquer. But you have to insist on yourself. Let's read some comments. Good men are in their homes enjoying peace. A lot of men have this like thing. It's like, I'm at home enjoying my peace. I don't have a nagging woman telling me all the time what I can do and who I can see, and I don't have to ask permission to see my boys. 90% of women chasing 10% of men. The other 90% of men are friend zone / invisible to them. The only winning strategy is not to play. The good men are avoiding all social media clowns. The more I observe the modern Western female, the more I come to the conclusion that there never was oppression against women. There were restrictions to protect them and the society at large from their greatest enemy, themselves. Yeah, I remember I heard something, like I learned a little about history, and there was like a law, I think somewhere in like the UK, London, something, like way back in the day. It was called like something King's Law or something. And it basically, no, King's Peace or something. I don't know, like King's Peace Law. That was like, women were forbidden to gossip and create like social like trouble. Like they were forbidden to like gossip and basically create like headaches for people. That's insane. Oh man. Anyway, boys, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I catch you boys on the next one. Take care of yourself.